Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys how to program in Java. So, the first thing is you're going to want to get an IDE, something to run the code. So I'm going to be using Eclipse, but I'll post a couple of the other ones that you could use, some online ones, in the description. But we're going to press File, New. So File, New, Java Project, alright. Alright, so I'm just gonna name this one Teaching, but you can name it anything. And then this should be right, and then we're gonna do the same thing before. We're gonna do File, New. This time we're gonna do Class, and we're gonna do a public, and we're going to contain a main. Let's see here, public, not package, default. We're gonna have a main. We're not gonna have constructors. And let's just name this class Teach. Okay. So now we can code in here. Alright, so I have a couple of things to test. And so this is from a computer science class, and these are some programs that it tells you to do, right? And so this is lesson 1, and we're only going to do 2 out of 12 from lesson 1 today, but this is not very difficult, and this idea is easily transferable to different things. So we're going to do this one. It says write and compile a test class. Okay, so already this public class. So anything that you write that wants to have some code, you're gonna have this generic outline. So if you don't have this and the name is not the class name.java, then fix that and just kind of write down. I'm not going to go into too much detail. In later lessons, you'll probably understand it a little bit more. So write and compile a test class. Okay, compile is run. First few lines that displays the first lines of a favorite song. Okay, so display, that's, if you're on Eclipse, you could do sys out, and then maybe that doesn't work. Okay. System dot. Okay, so this is the main Java thing. So if you do system dot out, and make sure your S is capital. And then, so this is saying to put out something, and what do you want to put out? You want to print it. So if you print something in a printer, it's going to send it out, and so that's what it's going to do. It's going to print, print, and then quotes, because quotes is how to say this is exactly what I want you to say. So I could just type in that, and then you add a semicolon at almost every single line you code. There's not up here, but any code that's not I don't know how to explain it. You can't, this is kind of a block. It's kind of conjoining this section, and that's when you don't. But for basically every other line of code, you do a semicolon. So if I just ran this, and so you just run it by pressing this run button right here, and then you're gonna, or run, whatever, and it's just gonna print out that. So now let's actually do what it says. So this is the first thing you're gonna need, and I'm also gonna change this to print line. So it's going to basically allow you to create a new line. And so if I did print, and if I copy and pasted this, right, and I ran it, it's, so I had a space right here, but if I didn't have that space, it would just be all bunched up together. So we're going to do this print line, which allows this to actually be separate on the new line. Okay, so this is a very basic thing, so I just deleted the stuff inside the quotes, and so I'm just going to say, song, there we go. Sue me, please. And then we're gonna copy and paste this one more time. And so now if I run it, let's run it and go. Not copyrighted song, please don't sue me, please, thanks, and that all matches up. So that's the very first one, and it's not too difficult. I would strongly recommend taking notes if this is for a class, or even if you're just learning this by yourself. I'm also going to teach you about comments right now before we do this next prompt, but it's in the right if you want to look at it. There's another one in Unit 1 for AP Computer Science Principles and whatever other Java classes use this, or not principles, AP Computer Science A. Alright, and so then if you do // that, you can type anything and it won't screw up the code. So this is to allow you to understand it, and you might think, you're like, yeah, that makes sense to me, but you won't. Alright, so prints, or if that doesn't make sense, you can just do display. Displays the following message. And then you could just write out this if you wanted to, or just to help you understand it. So now write and compile a test class. Okay, we have the class. It's called teach in this case. Displays your favorite movie quote, the movie it comes from, and who said it. Alright, so the movie quote. So now I'm going to put this in a little bit. So the quotes, to not screw with anything, I'm going to do these, and I'm just going to say CRIDE, there we go. And then the movie it comes from, and then I don't know, the movie it comes from, the YouTube movie. Alright, and then see here, who said it? Math Boy. Dash Math Boy, and then we're going to do a year of the movie, and then I'm just going to say 2020. So if I went to run this, subscribe the YouTube movie Math Boy 2020. It's very similar to the last one. And so, I'm going to see if I can find something from, like, Unit 2. But the other ones, it's just long and convoluted. Like, I'll show you one of them. Alright, so it's supposed to be the exact pattern, like that. And so you would just, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or however many print lines, and then just type in, like, X, some spaces, an X, and then it's very, like, tedious, and I would still recommend you do it if it's for, like, a school thing, and then you do your little table thing, and then make sure your quotes are balanced, and then they'll do a little chair, so then space, and then 2 through 4, and then like it's, if I ran this, it makes a little top section just with not enough spaces, but that's the general idea, and it's very tedious, I'd say. But if you don't know, just make sure you write this down somewhere, because it's just going to be very, very useful.